Are we seeing a rise in trans-domestic terror attacks in the US? Well, if going by the accusations of federal and state prosecutors, then the answer appears to be yes. Since Inauguration Day of Donald Trump back in January, there have been at least 15 documented international incidents, most of them happening in the US, of violent attacks on Tesla property infrastructure, such as charging stations as well as the stores and service centers. And when I talk about documented attacks, I'm not referring to the numerous incidents you may have seen now of Tesla cars being keyed or spray painted. I'm talking about things like shootings and bombings. These are acts of domestic terrorism, as the U.S. Attorney General Pam Bondi has now stated repeatedly. So I'm going to document them going through a list right now. There are a lot. I'm going to highlight several key ones for you. So the first known attack happened on Inauguration Day, 20th of January, in my home state of Oregon, of course, in the city of Salem. So there, a man named Adam Lansky, who is a trans leftist activist originally from the Portland area, who uses the alias Allison Tesla, that's the name that he used, allegedly carried out a firebombing attack on the 20th of January through multiple explosive devices, was dressed in a black costume, and also had a firearm. He allegedly pointed a rifle at a witness who was there to intimidate the person. Lansky allegedly got away and felt emboldened and returned back to the same Tesla store several weeks later on the 19th of February for a shooting attack, shot up the windows, shot up the cars. Lansky was arrested and has been charged by the DOJ with possessing a destructive device. He may be facing other charges in the coming weeks. And then on the 29th of January in Loveland, Colorado, which is near Denver, a trans activist, a leftist named Justin Nelson, who uses the alias Lucy Grace Nelson, was charged for allegedly carrying out multiple attacks on a Tesla store. He's been charged by the DOJ with malicious destruction of property. It doesn't stop there. On the 14th of March, a trans leftist named Evan White, who uses the name Aaron White, in the Chicago area, allegedly attacked a new Tesla store that hasn't even been opened yet and left messages about trans rights and various other messages against Donald Trump and Elon Musk. White has been charged at the state level with some felonies and may be facing federal charges. Going over some other ones, most of the violence have happened in the US, across the state, from the west to the center to the east. However, some of the violence has also spread to Western Europe because there are a lot of radical leftists there too. In early March, around a dozen Tesla vehicles were destroyed in a pretty large arson attack, and a radical anarchist group, an Antifa group, put out a claim of responsibility online, saying that it was fighting techno-fascism, which is a term that is being used against Elon Musk and the various companies that he runs. In Berlin, also around the same time, early March, a Tesla factory in Berlin, one that has been targeted several times, was victim of arson. And back to Oregon on both March, on the 6th and the 13th, in Tigard, which is a suburb of Portland, it's right next to Portland, there were two different shootings that occurred.
Police taped bullet holes and shattered glass. Crews spent the day cleaning up the Tesla dealership after investigators say someone shot it up overnight Thursday, causing tens of thousands of dollars in damage.
When employees showed up to work this morning, that's when they discovered the damage.
Tigard police say someone fired at least 7 shots, damaging 3 cars and shattering windows.
Nobody's been identified over that incident. There's been no arrests. Also on the 7th of March, in Charleston, South Carolina, Molotov cocktails were used in an attack. Multiple vehicles in on the 10th of March were set on fire in Seattle. In Berlin, going back to Europe, on the 14th of March, 4 Tesla vehicles were set on fire. On the 17th of March in Kansas City, Missouri, 2 vehicles were set on fire at a store. On the 18th of March in Las Vegas, at least 5 vehicles were set on fire, and a person dressed in black was seen fleeing from the scene. So this is just sort of a highlight of some of the violence that has happened, and the way it's being covered in the media is that it's treated as sort of just a part of civic protest.
Tonight, the FBI and ATF now investigating multiple cases of possible arson targeting Teslas and Cybertrucks.
This dramatic video shows multiple cars in flames.
Tesla Cybertrucks were set on fire in Kansas City, and earlier this month, shots fired at a Tesla dealership in Oregon. Cybertrucks on fire in Seattle.
Wow, you guys like petty acts of domestic terrorism, huh? Cool.
So if you read the legacy media reporting, it'll talk about how people are very upset about the cuts in funding for USAID, and people who are angry about the executive orders from the Trump administration, and so on and so forth, because the media is dominated primarily by people on the left. It can set narratives, and this is not seen as a matter of urgency, when in reality these are acts of domestic terrorism happening across the US and in Western Europe, and it's meant to intimidate and influence the federal government and federal employees. That is the agenda of these attacks, and it's clear from some of the messages that have been left behind. Attorney General Pam Bondi has said that she will treat these as domestic terror attacks, but as of this recording, nobody's been charged with any terror-related offenses at the federal level. It remains to be seen if they will. So, if you like this type of reporting, you like my content, please subscribe to me here, turn on notifications, and support my work at www.andy-ngo.com. Thank you.